Hello, hello, hello. Can I get a mic check from somebody here? Um, hmm. I'm wondering why everybody's saying Juju in the chat and I can't see her. Is there something wrong with my chat going on? Mousy, is she here? Because I'm not able to see anybody. But anyway, hopefully, checked mic. Is it good, Mouse? Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. I'm muted? Really? Oh, damn it, Charlie. Charlie. Like, really? Hold on a second. Charlie, you're gonna okay, I have to do something and it's gonna make you different. Hold on. It okay. There you go. All right. Everything's taken care of. Anyway, welcome everybody. It's not Monday. I was gonna do something on Monday and then I changed my mind. I actually did some other things. Some other things instead of coming out here. And I'm kind of glad I did in a way because I didn't know there were so many small updates, but there you go. Now we've got big updates. We've got big updates. What? Mousy, I don't know if what you forgot, but I don't know. Is she here? Is she not here? Like, cause can I like did she block me? I doubt it. Thank you very much. Always thank you. Thank you very much. Here we go. Banner up. Now we can start. Okay. So my mic is good. My banner's up. I got a lot to talk about today. Let's just get on with it. How about that? How about that? Yep. I thought so, Mousy. And I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't playing up in StreamYards or anything. Like, well, I wasn't trying to make it anything actually, but you know how that goes. Hey, Carrie Ann, nice to see you too. Anyway, so basically today we're going to talk about, well, what everybody's talking about today. Alex Murdaugh again. We were talking about the financial crimes periodically the last couple of weeks since the murder trial verdict of guilty. Now we knew that was an appeal, but today's press conference kind of blew everything out of the water. But before we do that, I thought I'd bring you up to date on our other friend, Samuel Bankman-Fried, who we may have all forgot about because, it really wasn't much except for the fact that he ruined his cushy little house arrest deal that he had, staying at his parents' house in California, all cushy out of jail, millions and millions and millions of dollars in fraud that he is being accused of federally, of felony, like life sentence kind of crap going on here. More money defrauded than even his bail was set higher than the Ponzi King. Okay, like this was astronomical, but basically he couldn't behave. He could not behave. So Samuel, as we reported prior, or actually updated you prior, he is the former CEO of FTX who's been charged with fraud. He's got misappropriation and bribery and all kinds of federal charges. He had 3 partners that were involved with this, and they have all pled and are cooperating with the feds. They have all pled guilty. They are getting their sentences reduced, everything, and they will all more than likely be testifying against Samuel Bankman-Fried. They are cooperating. He had a $250 million bond on house arrest. Okay. There were 8 charges. Okay. All right. The original 8 charges are going to trial in a couple of weeks. There are an additional 5 charges that have to be pre-approved by the Bahamas because they were actually made after extradition. And they have to be approved because they were things that happened after the fact. That's kind of how the law goes with extradition laws, and back and forth and things like that. But the original 8 charges, which are bad enough, which even if only those 8 go through, he's just a lot of hot water. Those 8 are supposed to go through in October. But the reason that we're talking about him is first of all, we already updated that he is now he's back in jail as of August 11th. Okay. His bail was revoked for witness tampering. Yes, He had diaries of his one of his CEOs or CFO, financial officer, is a girlfriend, okay? And he actually had some diaries or some notebooks of hers about how she felt about things. And under federal charges like that, you're not supposed to witness tamper. And since she is giving an affidavit against him, has already made a plea deal and is cooperating with the feds, it kind of became a problem when he decided to disclose her personal diaries and notebooks to a reporter. Looks like intimidation tactics. At least that's what Judge Kaplan thought. And he had done it on someone else too. He was making statements about his other partner out on Twitter and everywhere else. Well, Judge Kaplan got a little bit annoyed, not a little bit, a lot, and he revoked his bail. So since August 11, Samuel Bankman-Fried has been sitting in a regular jail like everyone else. As a matter of fact, the same jail that had Jeffrey Epstein in it and several of the NXIVM uh, uh, cult members that were up on charges. You know, it's a pretty popular jail. It's had some famous people in it before. All right, but apparently Samuel Bankman-Fried, his attorneys are coming up with all kinds of reasons why they got to get him out of jail. They just have to get him out of there. He cannot survive in there. You know why? Shoddy internet service. Oh yeah, that's one of the claims. You see, in order to help his defense, he's given a court-approved laptop, which is connected to the court-approved services when he meets with his attorneys to go over documents and go over evidence. He doesn't have it with him all the time. He can only use it in certain areas. But apparently the lawyers are complaining because it only has an hour's worth of battery life and they would have to plug it in. I'm saying, like, why not plug it in? Okay. And they don't have 5G service in the room that they were in. And sometimes the internet goes in and out. It's a federal building and all of this, but they won't let him connect to 5G or do whatever he wants. So kind of a lot of wah, in my opinion. But basically, Judge Lewis Kaplan kind of thinks the same thing because along with that, they said that, well, there's also an article out that says Samuel Bankman-Fried is on a self-proposed food issue campaign. Like he's starving himself. He's only eating bread and water. It's bread and water. That's all he has in jail because they don't have a dedicated vegan-only menu for him to choose from. Yep, you heard it right. Not only just, vegan, but he wants his own menu and choices. I'm surprised he hasn't asked for a personal chef. It just reeked of entitlement. And Judge Lewis Kaplan, if you remember, Kaplan don't play. That he don't play. He's had enough of this. He just said, nope, that's it. You're staying in jail. I suggest that you don't use these technology delays to postpone the trial because you're not getting out. Because they said, well, we want to postpone the trial because your internet isn't fast enough. We want to postpone the trial because he's not being fed enough. He's being mistreated. We just want to postpone the trial, basically. And Judge Kaplan's like, I don't see any reason to postpone the trial. Because you get to talk to him by phone. He gets to review it. What he doesn't get to do is intimidate witnesses via the internet. Like, that's why he's back in jail. That's why he's in jail. Because he was on social media intimidating witnesses. So, like, don't ask us for free line to the internet. It ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. It's just the audacity. I mean, granted, the defense attorneys are doing their job, but still. It reeks of entitlement. And unfortunately, Samuel Bankman-Fried's reputation reeks of entitlement anyway. So, like, this isn't really helping him much at all. But we basically still have a trial date for October. And I just found a little bit of humor. I just wanted to update on him because, first of all, the FTX case itself is so convoluted with the bankruptcy in America and everything else being international, and there's so many different laws involved. It gets very complicated. But recently, Robinhood found in crypto has bought millions and millions and millions of assets that did belong to Samuel Bankman-Fried from the feds cheap. They got like $605 million. they spent in the fund back to the federal government that he actually absconded with. So the trial, when everything is said and done at the end, at least the government in these trials is going to get some of the appropriated funds back to the people that lost everything, but we'll see what happens. Because there is the FTX bankruptcy, which is going to be trying to get money for the people that lost so much, but not pay other things too. Like, that's why they filed bankruptcy, to get out from underneath a lot of the debt. However, there are laws in regards to how you lose the money, whether that debt can be written off or not. There are plenty of countersuits going on in regards to this. And it's very, very convoluted in the business world because, there's the whole big thing. Like, we could go just to basics. Cryptocurrency. Is it real or is it Memorex? Like, that just popped in my head. Like, really, the way that they get crypto and how it gets traded and all, it's so fluid. It changes so much. It's so unregulated. Okay, but actually transactions themselves in the United States, we've got some pretty stiff laws about it. And this is how Samuel Bankman-Fried got caught. But it's just messy. It is messy, 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 messy. Now let me see what's going on in the chat. Is the banner the right color? It is blue. I think it's the right color, Fishner. Doesn't it look like the light blue? That's what I use for my true crime. Great. Grace says that hair is guilty. He does have some wild hair. He definitely does. He doesn't go for the kept look anyway. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm just checking for questions as we go. Although prison food is very unsafe and disgusting, I think that is cruel and unusual punishment. What do you mean? Like, to be on bread and water? That's self-imposed. There's plenty of food that they actually serve that is actually vegan, like the potatoes and everything else, but he's actually self-imposed himself to bread and water. That's not all that they're giving him. But, I mean, he could go meat-free and create for you right. Chances are his bread is not vegan either. Most likely has some milk in the dough. Exactly. I think that they do have a vegan diet. I think he's just complaining that it's not varied enough, or he doesn't get like a full menu like everybody else. I don't know. But basically, he's complaining to the wrong judge. Okay. And he self-imposed this bread and water routine. Let's not forget that. It's not like they're only giving him bread and water. Tony says, I'm surprised they don't have a vegan option in jails. They must have vegan prisoners before. I bet they do have an option, but it doesn't meet his standards. You're spot on, Tony. And that's exactly what the judge said. Yep. It's exactly what the judge said. They do have to follow religious and dietary requirements. We have strict laws in protecting prisoners' rights here in America. Now, it's not the best, but the basic things of food and all, yes, they are. And they do follow religious and dietary requirements. Now, if a doctor says you have to have a special diet or you have allergies, they follow it. You have religious requirements, they follow it. If you're vegan, I'm sure there are options. And that's it. It's just that he's probably upset based on the cafeteria. I'm sure the options aren't much. A vegan meal might be a lump of sweet potatoes and some vegetables. Well, he's going to have to deal with it. Okay. It's not like they're going to make a cauliflower nutritional yeast cheese sauce for the dude special. They're not going to call in a vegan chef to make him exquisite meals. He's going to get prison food. I think Samuel Bankman-Fried needs to realize he's in prison. Okay. This isn't like, oh, this isn't what I'm used to. Oh, this isn't the lifestyle. This is below the lifestyle that I am used to. This is below my standard. Yes, it is. Of course it is. You're in prison. You're in prison, dude. And you're in prison because of what you did. You're in prison because you couldn't take your very cushy, very cushy bail arrangements. You just couldn't stay off social media and you couldn't stop intimidating witnesses. Exactly. So I do not feel bad that you got bread and water. Be good with that. And eat the sweet potatoes or something, would you, dude? Because like you're doing this to yourself, really. Let's see. No, most bread isn't kosher. This is true. But I don't think it was a kosher diet he was looking for, just vegan. You know what, Carrie Ann? He's very thick, curly hair. It's not so bad if he didn't have the smirky, unkempt look with it. Exactly. I kind of agree with the ambulance comment because, yeah, he's just whining. It's not the fancy stuff he bought with the money he stole. Exactly, Mrs. Cassandra. And hello. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. I think he's just used to a cushy lifestyle that he just thinks should be accommodated because he's not guilty yet, but he violated his bail agreement and arrangement. And so this is where he is until trial. And if I was him, I wouldn't be trying to get that trial delayed. I mean, if he doesn't want to live on bread and water, he needs to get out of there. So at least he'll get a better lunch during trial days because they bring lunch in. They don't send him back to the prison for it. They'll bring in sandwiches and stuff. So he'll be eating better during the trial, I think. I think he should be looking forward to it, you know? And to complain about the internet, well, I understand if you're trying to get things done in meetings and all like that, but hey, we did not make you go there. We did not. Mm-hmm. There are some that grow gardens. That's in a real prison where they live. Remember, he's just in a holding prison. He's not in a convicted prison yet. Like, so it's a little bit different. But when you go away, they have better lifestyle kinds of things, and they grow gardens, and you can get an education, and they have programs, while you're there. But he's just like asking for the regular county area to just provide all of this extra that they're not going to do. I mean, he's lucky he gets vegan, let alone choices. Mm. I think that's great that they have some of those programs. Grow the food. Yeah, don't brush your I agree with this, Juju. If you've got thick curly hair, don't brush those curls. Remember, scrunch and dry. That's it. Put a little product in, air dry or scrunch and dry. I know, Mrs. Cassandra, me either. I don't want my taxpayer money going to gourmet vegan. Give him just regular vegan. Let him choose. Well, he don't get like a multiple choice selection. When you're in a hospital or even when you're in a rehab center, you like taking, maybe you hurt yourself and you've got to like get back into shape, whatever. You go to any of these things, they don't have multitude of selections when you need a special diet. If you go to the hospital and you say you need a vegan diet or a kosher diet, they have one set meal plan for that. It's not like when they're doing thousands of meals and they have 4 choices. The vegan meal, the low-fat meal, and the kosher meals, there are very little choices there, but they give you a little bit of selection, but you can't really, at least you get that. You can't force them to give you like multiple selections and stuff for a very minimal to make all of those selections for 1 or 2 prisoners. We'll say like maybe even just 2% of the population would not be cost effective. And so they have a point there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Can you, Juju, if you could find a way to get us a chef by petitioning the state, I want in. We'll share the chef. Exactly, Mousy. Jail's not supposed to be fun. It's jail, dude. It's jail. Okay. Like, I think based on his charges, yes, he's innocent until proven guilty, but based on what he's facing, I think he should get used to it. I hope he has a good taste for that bread. Exactly. That's at the hospital, right? It wasn't that great. And I brought a human into this world. Where's my steak and wine? Exactly. If you didn't get steak and wine, why should he get anything more than just the basics, right? Exactly. No kidding. Liquid diet is for the birds. Exactly. I agree. But anyway, that was my update on him. Shall we move on to something just a little bit different? Let me just see. Yeah. You know the other thing that happened today, right? Today, Alex Murdaugh's defense attorneys had a press conference. They dropped a huge filing on the court, 65 pages that I got through today. And I have to say, although I was quite annoyed, I was actually very amused at the same time. And also, legally, it gave me some goosebumps at all of the possibilities of the stuff that's going to happen. But just buckle up, buttercups, because this one's about Alex Murdaugh. Yep, Alex Murdaugh back in the hot social media news right now, everywhere. Murdaugh, Murdaugh, Murdaugh. And it ain't about the financial crimes right now. It's about the murder trial, which he's already been convicted of. Now, we know that they were going to file an appeal. Like, that was just standard. We kind of all expected that, didn't we? But today, the defense attorney filed a motion for a new trial, and they claimed jury interference. They're claiming that the county clerk, Rebecca Hill, actually made statements and influenced them with pressure and prejudicial statements, being in control of what they did as far as when they got their breaks and meals and stuff. And as she made it quite known that she thought he was guilty in some way. They're claiming that that was prejudicial, which it could be. Now, there's a lot to go over. There's a lot. So let me just say that they have affidavits from 2 jurors out of the 12 that they're claiming for this interference, mostly on Rebecca Hill. They are also coming out with a letter asking the federal government to investigate and pull SLED from the agreement, from investigations into the second trial and also into the acts of the county clerk. Okay. Judge Newman has not been implicated, and I found it very interesting that they said that several times during their press conference, which, by the way, was outside of the county court, the courthouse. And it was Jim Griffin, of course, and it was Dick Harpootlian and Philip Barber, the 3 that we know very well from the murder trial. Okay. They were all 3 out there giving like what they were filing on, what the evidence was, what they're thinking, is, and several times each of them had said, but Judge Newman is not implicated in anything wrongdoing. They made sure they said that several times, but they did say that he would have to withhold judgment as he may be a witness. Okay. That he actually may be a witness in the case, in the case. Yep. That's what I was just saying. Gosh, always, you got to give me 2 seconds to actually get it out. But yes, they did say that he's not implicated, but he may be a witness because that is his county clerk and he was aware. And I'll tell you the main issue as to why he might be a witness, and we're going to get to that because they have a very valid point as to why he might be a witness in something that he was involved in during his case. He was the judge for the murder trial. No, I can't block his face, Mrs. Cassandra, but I did give you one where he was pretty, like, not happy, at least, right? I'm sorry, but at least he's not happy looking in this one. That was it when he was convicted. Then I picked it on purpose. There is some meaty stuff in there always, and we're definitely going to cover that. Definitely. There's some meaty stuff in there. I did get through all 65 pages. I've got my notes. I'm ready to go. If you guys will go along with me, But I, woke up like, last night I was thinking, oh, I don't really have much for today except for some minor updates and some Samuel Bankman-Fried. And then this popped up. And I knew they were going to be up to something, but I had no idea it was going to be this. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Oh, yes, Pete, I was hoping you would come by. I was about to email you after the show because whoop, what that dropped. I can't wait to talk to you about it. But anyway, there are quite a few accusations being thrown around here. Well, basically, the 2 juror affidavits, okay? There are 2 jurors. During the press conference, Jim Griffin and Dick Harpootlian talked about going to every juror, knocking on doors. Nobody will talk to us, blah, blah, blah. We got the cold feet. But two of them had some issues. One of them is a gentleman juror. And one of his main issues is the fact that he was a smoker. And he felt pressured by the county clerk when she made statements like, there'll be no more smoke breaks until you guys come up with a verdict, quote unquote. Now, all of this is alleged, okay, because we still have to have the state come forward with Rebecca and a statement from Rebecca Hill, who we have not heard from yet, okay? We have not heard from Rebecca Hill just yet. We will, but we haven't yet. And we have not heard from prosecution. They've got to come forward. I doubt very much that a lot of this was going on. It's going to be countered in some way. But I will tell you this. It is up to the state to prove that the interference didn't happen. Now, the interference didn't have to change the outcome for it to be a violation of the Sixth Amendment, which would be a fair and equitable trial to Alex Murdaugh. Because here's the real deal. If she said any of the stuff that they said in a prejudicial manner, being a state representative, the county clerk is a voted in by the people state official. Well, any statement that she made that the defense didn't know about or have the opportunity to counter would violate Alex Murdaugh's rights to a fair trial, to be able to contest anything made by his accusers. And that's because she's a state agent. Do you see the line I'm drawing here? Even though she's not on the prosecution team, she's a state agent. And the state is suing Alex Murdaugh. And the Sixth Amendment is pretty clear that anybody who accuses you, you get the right to counter that accusation. So this technicality, regardless of what we may think if Rebecca Hill did it or not and what the reasons are or the intent, without any new evidence or any misdeeds by SLED or the prosecution or the judge, we may very well get a new trial for Alex Murdaugh. Based on what I read today, and I'm not a lawyer. Here we go. Yeah, Pete, you can put it in quotes. Claire, I'm not a lawyer bear. I'm saying that what I read is a clear indication of this loophole just guaranteed him a new trial because there's so much precedent involved around it. Okay. First of all, Rebecca Hill did put out a memoir in regards to the trial, in regards to her dealings with everything. Even though when she made certain comments that she didn't mean this or she didn't mean that, there is the inference that there's interference here. And because of her position and her interactions with the jury, they've got two affidavits of people saying they were made uncomfortable. That's all they need. They don't need to say that it would have changed their vote or what they thought, guilty or not guilty. They just need to say it affected them in some way, that it had influence. So just them being uncomfortable by her actions, new trial. New trial. I'm telling you, this is huge. I agree. This is huge. Totally huge. He may still be guilty of murder, Mousy. Yes, but he's going to get a new trial. And here's the thing. The defense is going to benefit by knowing everything the prosecution has already. They already know how it's going to play in court. They already know the mistakes they made by putting Alex Murdaugh on the stage. They know what worked, what didn't. They get a brand new trial with no new evidence. That's going to be a roller coaster ride. I just don't. Right? Come on. Like, wow. Really. There's so much in there. First of all, they were talking about bathroom breaks. Apparently, one of the affidavits clearly indicates that the foreman, the jury foreman, would request to talk to the county clerk, Rebecca Hill, and that they would go off into the bathroom and have private meetings for 5 to 15 minutes. And that when she came back, she never gave the jury instructions. That's not wrong to meet. The foreman and the county clerk can meet. It's usually about what the jury is going to need, what the jury needs to do, any questions that they may have. It could be about lunch breaks, potty breaks, smoke breaks, whatever. Questions to be brought forward. That's not unusual. What's unusual is for the foreman to come back, as was put in the affidavit in the file of the motion to get a new trial, was that when they came back, no instruction was given to the jury of anything or any explanation to the meeting or what was talked about. Now, granted, they don't have to say everything they talked about, but it shouldn't be hush, 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 hush. Now, we don't know what happened. All we know by this filing is that it looks really bad. It looks terrible, doesn't it? Hey, student, so good to see you. I'm telling you, student, this case is crazy. Crazy. I'm glad to see you, though. I hope you're doing well. I'm telling you, I don't know. I got excited by the legal aspects of this, but it just goes to show you that we take very seriously the process of the jury. And here's the problem. Having any impropriety at all in that process is what's going to get him a new trial. Just the sheer implication that anything went wrong, he should get a new trial. And I know that sounds weird because we all pretty much went through everything. And I am one who believed with the jury that they did get the right man. And they do have the right man in jail for the murder. And the fact that he's going to get a brand new trial with no new evidence is, and that he's actually going to be able to use this in his defense, that they were just against him. Like he's going to be able to use the popularity of the trial as tainting even officials of the court into being prejudiced against him. How's that for a hook? That's the writing on the wall I'm seeing. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, because actually when they were asked in their press conference, Jim Griffin said, we're not going to talk about our defense right now. We're going to wait and see if we get our new trial and then we'll talk. Yeah, they were quite close-mouthed about that. They were quite close-mouthed about all of that. But I ask you, in one of the most corrupt cases we have ever seen, with a family that acted with total influence to hide the misdeeds of this man for years and years and years, what do you think the chances are that there's more to this than just a little bit of like somebody said something they shouldn't have said? I mean, Rebecca Hill did put a book out, but let's be clear, she didn't get a publisher. Nobody paid her to do it. Do you know she's self-published? Yeah, it was an idea that the person who co-wrote it, their wife actually said, hey, you should write your personal experience. It would be an interesting read. So she thought about that. She thought about it, and she did it. And it's self-published. You really think she's making a fortune on it? But here's the thing. She don't have to make a fortune on it. They get to say, well, she had a motive for her book to try to make it sensational to get the verdict of guilty. It's fascinating. Well, they didn't have a good review of the book, no. But it's self-published and nobody... All right, Juju, I say this. For that book not to be picked up from official who was part of the trial, it has to be pretty bad if it's self-published. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Either that or she made a bad business deal if she didn't take the offers that she could have. But I'm going to say, I think I'm going to read it just, to read it. And I invite anybody in the Discord to join me, because I think I'm going to try to get it so that we can all talk about it. But like, I don't know. The whole situation is, I agree, fascinating. And welcome, Juju. It's nice to see you here. And Mousy wants to make sure you took out the garbage. All right. So, all right. Always, I'm going to ask you this really nicely. I'm getting there. You got to give me some time. You're putting all of it out into the chat before I even get to talk about it. I know you know about all of this, but if you want to come up here, come on up here. But give me a minute, would you, to even get it out? Okay. The affidavits are actually, I'll even show you on Reddit. I even have the slide ready. Damn it. Here. So there was the conflict during the trial, if you'll remember, that during the trial, there was a juror who was dismissed. Story goes that the county clerk brought to Judge Newman's attention, and we all heard part of this in sidebar and part of this argued during the trial. Okay. Juror 765, who forever will be known as the egg lady. Do you remember? Like, maybe if I say the egg lady, you'll remember the one that had to go back to the jury room to get her eggs, and it was a whole big thing. She did have an interview with the judge afterwards. You know, that's whole the process, because the county clerk brought to the judge's attention that there was a Facebook post by someone with the juror's ex-husband's name who said, "Oh, I deleted a tweet from yesterday on Facebook that was, I was drunk and I was saying all of these things and they weren't true." And on further investigation, the county clerk had reported to the judge that the prior post, which no one can find a copy of, no one has produced that copy. It's on file in the court documents that the original was not seen. Only the secondary post saying, "I take it all back," was seen. The original post said things like, juror number 765 was talking to everybody in town about the case and had talked to him about the case, and he was giving his opinion about this and that and the other thing. That's what it was said to have said. And that was kind of sort of the apology post that came through the second time. Lo and behold, juror number 765 was dismissed. She says she knew nothing about it. She never talked to her husband. Her ex-husband about it and this, that, and the other thing. But because they didn't want any impropriety and the person who posted has the same name as the ex-husband, she was excused because Judge Newman did not want any shenanigans. He wants a fair trial. If there's anything that comes forward, he's going to deal with it. But the problem is that when he interviewed juror number 765, and during the whole process, they asked questions about all of the contact that you have with everybody because they want to get the whole story. She was clearly asked, has the clerk discussed anything about the case with anyone on that jury? And juror number 765, during that statement to the court in her questioning about prior to her removal, that juror said, "Not that I'm aware of." However, that juror is giving testimony now that said that the clerk said, "Don't be fooled by the evidence presented to the jury by Mr. Murdaugh's attorneys." Now, if she's giving an affidavit to the defense attorney saying that, why did she tell Judge Newman that the clerk had never said anything to the jury? This is the total conflict here. This is why I'm saying eyes wide open, people. These accusations are huge. The accusations themselves about the impropriety in the juror process should get a new trial. Okay. But why? Because there was actual improprieties, or because of the connections of the Murdaugh family and the attorneys involved throughout the system? Is there more going on here? Is there more going on here? And is it going to affect the financial crimes that he's already admitted to? Will he get to say, I only said I was guilty of all of that because I was away from murder for life and I was depressed because you thought I was a murderer. So, like, I just gave up. But now that I have a new trial and I may not be convicted, is all of that going to get overturned? Like, this could get pretty messy. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's how my wheels started to spin. I don't know about you guys, but I see nothing but a huge mess in the future. And I'm not sure who's right here. I'm not really. And it's okay always. I mean, you have the information. I get it. I just, would appreciate being able to say it. It's like, I have no problem if you want to join me anytime. You got lots to say. Well, Yeah, for no one to have heard of the Murdaugh book, I agree, Juju. Like it's got to be really, really bad. It definitely has to be bad. And she should have waited until she was out of office. She could have written a humdinger then. Yes, she could have. Because here's the problem: even just the tainting of being accused. How could she be the county clerk for any of these other court cases? Aren't all the defense attorneys and everybody we're going to be able to use this as fodder for the process? For to In order to keep the process immaculate, she's going to have to go. I mean, her reputation's shot now based on this. I kind of really feel for her right now. We haven't heard from her, but I can imagine what it's like to be around her, her family, her friends, everybody. They're just like, whoa, is this going to be a storm? And the whole town is now talking again about Alex Murdaugh, his trials, the murder, and now all of the jury. hmm That's the problem. That is it. This is something. Mm. She had to do eggs. Yeah, remember that, Pete? She had to go back and get the eggs from the juror room. Like she said, "Do you have anything there?" She says, "I really just need my eggs. I really need my eggs." Um, I couldn't find the legal documents. I still don't know how to use Pacer though. That's okay, Shill. I've got them if you want them. And thank you very much for the donation. I will put that up. Just contact me. As a matter of fact, if you go down into the description, you will find free links to both the letter that Hartpullian and Griffin signed requesting that the FBI do the investigation and slamming SLED for saying that they have an interest in making sure that the verdict stands because of the shade that was thrown at them, and that they don't think that they can be partial. Here we're going to say that law enforcement officials that actually try to prosecute, they can't, because they're going to be more worried about their reputation. That's what the attorneys are trying to say, that they don't want them involved. But they are forgetting that the FBI was involved in the investigation too, and that they have plenty of evidence. It's really not going to go that much more in their favor, I don't believe. But we shall see. I mean, we know that there was plenty of problems with evidence and procedure that was done there. Okay, we talked about this back and forth a lot, didn't we, people? About the number of people that were there during the investigation that didn't need to be there. Like what, 20 lawyers in a room at one time, walking all over the scene? Like this was bad. The investigation had its own issues. And the fact that Crichton Waters could pull it all together with his team the way that they did, I give them great credit. And they did a fantastic job. But you got to remember, okay, they did a fantastic job. And they are nailing him one by one on the financial crimes. He's going down like a house of cards. And A.G. Wilson, his reputation bolstered immensely about corruption in South Carolina. So I ask you this, not only about this case, but has anybody been following what's going on in South Carolina right now with all of the questions about how the judges get seated, the corruption of the lawyers, the whole system being like blah, 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 and A.G. Wilson all on top of it. And rumors that A.G. Wilson is going to be running for office. Okay. So why wouldn't they try to bring something like this to shake the tree, especially with Dick Hartpullian holding office? I'm just saying there's more to this, I suspect, than just getting a fair trial for Alex Murdaugh, which I do believe he deserves. Okay. If she, whether with intent or without intent, I don't really think she had that much intent to cause a problem like this, because if she did, how dumb is that? If you want to write a book about Alex Murdaugh doing wrong and you really believe he should be in jail, why would you do stuff that could clearly get everything overturned and get a new trial? Like, you got to be a little bit smarter than that, right? And if she really was doing it for money, why, like Juju said, didn't she wait until after the appeal was filed and settled, and then write the whole damn book and get it out there? okay, about the whole thing while she's out of office, so she can't be tainted about it. Okay, but nope, there was just not such a smart play. I really want to see if they actually put it live, I will try to put it up. I want to see the jurors on the stand and see Rebecca Hill question. I do too. I think they're going to have a hearing about. I'm not sure if it's going to be closed doors and just by motion. Sometimes the judge will only use the motions filed. Okay. And if they do speak to the jurors, that's why there's an affidavit. I don't know if they're going to be speaking to the jurors or not. Okay. Well, we need to see what's going to happen here. And I do have an interview that Rebecca Hill did do that I wanted to share with you guys. Here's a link, just so you know who we're talking about. Here's a link to an interview that she did in July. Okay, so that you could see the person that we're talking about and how well spoken she was. She doesn't seem very threatening to me at all, but she just she just seemed like she wasn't that she was just using the fame a little bit, but she didn't seem like that aggressive about it, that too much, at least not to me, but I would like to see your guys' opinion on that one. Okay, so AG Wilson himself, actually the Attorney General, Alan Wilson, his response to the latest Murdaugh motion, and I quote, Alex Murdaugh's defense team filed a new motion relating to his murder trial. See below for Attorney General Alan Wilson's result. We are currently reviewing the defense's latest motion and will respond through the legal process at the appropriate time. End of story. That's all he had to say. That's it. That was the whole thing. But remember, A.G. Wilson and Creighton Waters are also still dealing with all of this, okay? All of this. They got a new trial. They got a new hearing coming up on September 11th about all these financial crimes. He has already reported and filed as guilty and done statements on several of them already to try to stop it. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But as far as the jury, I want to know what you guys think here. Now, Carrie Ann, you say 40% chance he succeeds. Can you tell me what you mean in getting the new trial or in getting it overturned? In actually getting a different verdict at the end? Because I see it at 95% that he gets a new trial. I do. Because I do believe that Judge Newman and any other judge in South Carolina believe strongly in the jury process, and it's like sacred. Any impropriety at all would be guaranteed of a new trial. Otherwise, we're going to have, people coming in here with the Sixth Amendment rights and trying to overturn stuff, because it is a clear violation and prejudicial if they actually spoke at all in the manner that they are saying they spoke. Now, they have two affidavits, and the affidavit is the testimony of that juror. Okay, just because other people aren't saying the same thing, that juror said, here's the case. I'm going to use the most ridiculous point to prove it, because then maybe you'll understand why I'm saying like almost 95% I think he's going to get a new trial. Because a juror who was a smoker, who admits to having a nicotine addiction, says in an affidavit to the defense that they felt pressure to come to a verdict because they weren't going to get another smoke break. Now, if that county clerk is responsible for that pressure with the statement, come on, people, no more smoke breaks until you come up with a verdict. Even if they said it joking, because they're a officer of the state, okay? They're a state employee. They're part of the team voted in by the people to work for the state. The state is prosecuting Alex Murdaugh without that could lead as trying to influence or in interfering. Now, did they do it intentionally to try to make him guilty? No. But that person says they felt pressure, so it interfered. And because Alex Murdaugh's team didn't know about it or get to say anything about it, his Sixth Amendment rights are violated to a fair and equitable trial, being able to face his accusers at all times. What? Oh boy. Oh, that's Hartpulian and not the okay, I'm sorry. I put the wrong one there. Did I actually drop the link for the actual defense's press conference? Is that what you're saying, Pete? I'm sorry. Let me get you the other link. I do have the other one. I'm so sorry. I just let's see, where is it? Oh yeah. Here it is. Here is Rebecca Hill's book release. I'm so sorry, guys. It's the second one, but now you have both. I mean, and the other link is linked in the description, as well as the letter and the affidavit and the actual motion, the 65-page motion, the legal documents. Yes, I'm sorry, Pete. I threw a Hartpulian at you without warning. Like no one should ever have to deal with him without advance warning. I'm so sorry. You could be annoyed with me for that one. Like absolutely. Absolutely. And Juju says, I don't believe the smoke break bullets. All of a sudden they can't have their smoke breaks. No, I don't believe it either, Juju, but here it is. It's a signed affidavit. I want to see when they actually see now the state gets to interview those same jurors, and I want to see what happens because juror 765 is already given contradictory testimony in 2 different instances. And this guy never complained during the process about his smoke breaks. Now, the judge talked to that jury every day, asked them if they had any issues. If he wasn't getting his smoke breaks, don't you think he could have said something? Like, I mean, come on. Like, I think we're gonna find out that they like. I don't know, Pete. Are you with me on this? Something stinks in South Carolina, like really, really bad, like really, really, really bad, and it continues to stink. And I think because Crichton Waters and A.G. Wilson are doing such a bang up job, they're trying to discredit the whole damn thing. I think some of these like lawyers who have been around for a while are a bit uncomfortable, and I think they should be. But anyway, we would have heard about that smoke break. Exactly. If his nicotine habit was so upset. Listen, what I think is it might be a bit of sour grapes. She came out with a book afterwards, and they're like, hey, we didn't get to write a book. Like, I'm a juror and I didn't get to write a book. Like, who's this clowny clerk? And she annoyed me. She didn't let me have a smoke break. Or like, she buttered the wrong side of my bread, or she left my eggs out in the hall. Like, whatever the reason being. I think it's a bit of sour grapes here. Well, what happens with these sour grapes, regardless, if she made any kind of inappropriate statements, and we all make them, we just all aren't county clerks and responsible for keeping a very sacred process clean as a whistle. I mean, come on. It is really, with a trial like this, with all the mass media involved, you can't blame people for saying, oops, well, anything that happens, we're going to have a do-over because it's just not right. I feel bad for Judge Newman. He really walked the line on that case. He was very reasonable. He tried to do the best that he could to make sure everything was fair. All right. We had a lot go on in that case. A lot. Okay. And now it's going to have to all be done again. I think we are going to have a new trial. All right. Listen, Shill, you can't blame me for your migraine. If you show up here, I can't be responsible. I can't just not say his name. I mean, he's involved in the case. Like, come on, you have to take a little bit of responsibility for yourself. There was a risk that I would mention the name Dick Hartpulian anytime we talk about Murdaugh. Come on. Like, that's not fair. Yep. Wouldn't that have been a reason to pass over that fury or that jury? Or it's like, no, because they did get smoke breaks. He's just saying that she made a comment like she wasn't going to give them one or something if they didn't hurry up. because they did get regular smoke breaks. It wasn't a reason not to have them on the jury, because the jury does get smoke breaks. They get to order their lunch, all that stuff. Juju says, maybe that juror didn't get the meal he wanted during deliberations that he still ticked about. Exactly. Kind of a little SBF reference thrown in there. Thank you, Juju. But just about the same thing. Yeah, we didn't even hear about the smoke breaks, did we, Pete? They never mentioned it, which means no one on the jury had an issue with it during trial. No one. And if it was going on, why didn't juror 765 mention it in her dismissal interview? Because, the judge goes very thorough. He asked about everything. Right? Hey, Record, thank you for the honoring. Can you believe this? I mean, can you guys believe? And all right, can I just get like a vote in the chat? If they do the hearings live or they do the new trial, do you guys want to see it, or are you done with Murdaugh? Like, I wouldn't want to you guys are, I like having you here, so I wouldn't want to chase you away if you don't want to see it. But I'm thinking there's a lot legally to put our teeth into here. Seriously. Not only is it going to be a media sensation again, but damn, there is a lot here. Just the legal precedent alone on the fact that he's going to get a new trial. Another trial will limit the jury pool. Can you imagine the questions? No one will be able to say they didn't hear about the Murdaugh trial. No one. They'll be lying if they said they didn't hear something about it in that small town. It's been the talk forever, right? Yup. We got big trials coming up. Big ones, student. Okay, thank you. Juju wants to see it, so it'll at least be me and Juju. Carrie Ann says it would be interesting. You're not sure if you want to watch? No. I don't know, Pete. It was a little bit frustrating, wasn't it? It was, because of all the shenanigans that went on. But I'm wondering. I want to see his face when they say guilty next time and see how much his testimony changes. Yes, Tony, that's another thing. Do you think he'll make the mistake of taking the stand again? He got a lot of criticism. The defense attorneys were under a lot for that too, And actually, during the press conference, several people asked about it, and they said they didn't want to discuss it. Okay. They said that they stuck by their decision in Alex's at the time, but they're not going to talk about what they do in the future. Matter of fact, that's what they said. Alex did already take the stand, and that part is on the record. And how much of that are we going to be able to pull in? How much are they going to claim is prejudicial? Right? This is, it's a lot more than just the fact that, of a new trial. There's so much more involved. Hey, Mary Beth, nice to see you. I think he will take the stand again. He could. It was a Hail Mary, student. That's why there was so much push. People were shocked when he did it. And unfortunately, it didn't go in his belief. Most of the jury said they did not believe his testimony. They thought, Record says, we want to hear you talk about it. Well, thank you, Record. That's a few of you that want to hear me talk about it. I can tell you that for sure I'm going to talk about it, but whether or not I do the trial live, it was a lot to do 9 to 5, but at the same time, I was exhausted, but I also was quite energized by, the contributions of everybody. So we'll see. I'm sure it won't be as long. I think that was 4 weeks, and good luck finding anyone that hasn't heard of the case. Exactly, Pete. I'm going to put that up because, definitely. Definitely, because I don't think it would be that long, because I think the financial crimes, now they have guilty verdicts. They don't have to go over his intentions anymore like that. They have the testimony that can just all be submitted into evidence. They don't have to bring person after person after person to prove that anymore, his state of mind and stuff like that. It's going to be a bit different. I think it'll be more streamlined on the prosecutor's end. But I have no idea how the defense is going to fight against it unless they look at prejudicial. That listen, the only defense that Alex Murdaugh actually has is that everybody hates Alex Murdaugh. Let's be clear. Like, they're going to say people don't like you because you're rich. People don't like you because you were well connected and you stole money from them. So they automatically think you committed murder, but you didn't commit murder. Like, that is the defense here. If you think about it, what do you guys think? I mean, that's what I think. Just my non-lawyerly opinion. Yes, they did annihilate a lot of the evidence, especially with some really bad moves on Sled's part, okay? And also some bad moves into how the investigation was done. But don't forget that they brought the FBI in to further clarify a lot of it, especially the things that nailed him in the end. And that is the forensics from the phone, all of the phone stuff as far as the towers that it pinged on and the GPS, all of that has been federally investigated, verified. Please remember that. The Sled stuff, hey, we could just toss it. That's what the defense is asking, that the Sled not be the source of the investigation anymore. However, we got to remember, and I remember that when I made notes on that when it happened, that Crichton Waters and the prosecutions did get federal investigators involved in some of that evidence, and it's certified by the FBI, not SLED. Okay, the person who testified about the GPS is the person who testified in regards to how the cell phone data was used and could show this, that, and the other thing. They were federal agents. They were employed by them. Okay, so there is that. Okay. Yeah, dang right. Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Thanks, Pete. On the right track a little bit there. It just stinks, Pete. I just stink so bad. Like, I can't. The prosecution would know where to focus now, but the defense has the heads up too. Exactly. The defense is going to be going into this knowing all of the evidence, knowing where to attack, and knowing how well the testimony played that they presented, which was like a dud. So they're just going to have to amp it up. They're going to have a whole new plan, but they got the benefit of knowing what didn't work. Okay, so it's like eyes wide open. I still think they got a tough hill to climb, but I do see them using the media and everything as part of their defense now. I do. Yep. SLED didn't do things right, but they did do enough. Yes, they did. They did enough right to have some evidence there. They did. I don't want to be mildly excited just to compare the two trials. I don't want to be either, but I am. I'm going to admit to it. I want to see how the two trials play next to each other. So I will say I am leaning towards covering it as exhausting as it was. I need to have apples and apples to compare. So I want the whole thing laid out like day by day the same. I'm telling you that I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking definitely new trial. And I'm thinking maybe we should all be there for it. I think it'll be something. But anyway, there's going to be a hearing. There's definitely going to be a hearing. That's my hour. I'm going to go through for questions. Well, that was it for the day. 1 hour of Samuel Bankman-Fried and a half hour of him and a half hour of Alex Murdaugh. 1 hour total. I'll stay in talk with you guys if you want to talk about the case. But otherwise, you know what, Juju? That's what I was thinking. We've come this far. We've come this far on the case. Why not keep going? And there's so much more. We're still covering all of the financial stuff here and there. So why not? I mean, Alex Murdaugh is Alex Murdaugh. And I do believe when the case ended, I said it wasn't going to be over, right? I said this is not the end of it. We're going to be talking about Alex Murdaugh for years to come. For years. It's going to be something we all have together. But you know what they didn't mention in the affidavit? Bubba. I was disappointed. The motion for a new trial doesn't mention Bubba at all. Nope, not at all. It does have a lot, though. And so I have provided you the links below. So after you've read it, if you choose and you have any questions, please hit the comment section on the back of this video. I entertain all questions. I would love to get into discussions about it. If anyone is interested in having a discussion in the Discord, members, you know that's your privilege there. We are now starting chat discussions on particular cases at different times. Hit me up and we'll start one, even if it's only one of you or two of you. I definitely am into it. There's so much more to talk about than what we can do in one session on YouTube. Okay, I'm only out here once or twice a week on true crime, and there's so much going on. So on that, if you are a member, don't forget to hit us up there. There's some things changing. If you've just been gifted a membership, I want to remind you, you still do get the Discord invite. I just need to hear from you. So anyone coming in, seeing your name is green, if you're not in the Discord yet, let me know. And it won't be just a matter of coming in there just for the 1 month. You will get full access for the full month that you're there, just like a paid member. Some of your access will be reduced, but you will not be removed from the Discord. You still will be able to do some of the stuff, and as a gifted member, because like just we met you, we talked to you, we're not going to kick you. Like that's it. We're not going to do it. Okay. So don't be thinking because it was gifted that you're not entitled to the same perks, because as far as I'm concerned, you are entitled to the same perks. Anyone who wants to talk about true crime, come on. Like that's my thing. Why would I not want you there? Right? Is it just me in there talking to myself? I'm cool with it. Well, I'll be joining you, Juju. So it'll at least be the two of us anyway, because I can't wait. There's so much about these things going on. Like when something like this happens, a press conference, it's the first thing I want to do is talk to a bunch of people. That's what I want to do. I know, Pete, Bubba. Gosh, I miss Bubba. I really do. I know, Fish Nerd, you still can't waddle. I'm sorry. You know why? I found out. It's because you don't have you have to do the permissions on Allwo, and then I think you can't use the waddle the waddle animated emojis because of Nitro. That's what that was. But we'll work it out. We're gonna work it out. Wrecker, are you Allwoing in the chat? Stop it. Stop it. You're gonna bring Buddy in to talk to the True Crime Club there, Grace? That's gonna be interesting. Are they going to have a trial about his Sixth Amendment rights before the retrial? He's not guaranteed the retrial yet. The judge has to weigh on that. They're either going to have a closed a closed hearing or an open hearing, but it won't be a trial. They will have a hearing on the motion for a new trial, which is part of the appeals process. It's in the appeal court right now. We are waiting for the appeal judge to actually give us an order on it. Okay. And as soon as I know, you guys will know as soon as we hear anything. And, but as far, I do believe there will be a retrial. Okay. This verdict will be vacated and he has to have a whole brand new trial based on his Sixth Amendment rights. But it's a hearing beforehand, and they may or may not have that open. We don't know. Sometimes it's just the appeal looking at the motions. Now, the prosecution gets to answer this motion in appeal, okay, just like before. And the judge gets to open up a hearing to hear from both sides and get more information. And then, decide on whether it should go forward. Oh, student, go on shopping. It was so nice to have you here. It really was. Yep. He says, love to all, especially my homegirl. Thank you. It was good to see you. It really was. A hearing to decide. I don't know. He doesn't need a hearing to decide. He can just decide based on the filings. He doesn't have to have a hearing. He just is, if he wants to hear from witnesses or people in the affidavits or witnesses, or if he has questions, then he would have a hearing, right, Pete? But they don't always have to. I know, Juju. Stupid Nitro keeping your Your emoji from you. I know. I hear. I hear you. I hear you. Oh, Bubba. I just miss me some Bubba. And Mrs. Cassandra's got the right. She says, "Thank you all for joining. Hit like and subscribe and share, and good night." And that's right, because I'm just about out of here. There's no more questions. I just want to remind everybody I will be here tomorrow with Political in the afternoon. I haven't put the stream up yet, but yes, it's Wednesday and there's a lot going on there. So I'm definitely going to be there. I would like to say that I'll see you all on the weekend. This Saturday, we have an Am I the Asshole with one of our new members in the Discord. And we'll be doing that on Saturday instead of What the F. And then we will be back talking about everything and nothing, talking about all of it and none of it, all of it and none of it on Sunday. Okay. And I may be here Thursday with the challenge because I do believe it's one of our turns and we don't know exactly what we're doing yet, but we've been talking about it, so we may pop up with a challenge on Thursday on one of the channels. What I would suggest is that you all check out the community tab after later on this evening. There are going to be some member only messages in regards to updates on the Discord. There's going to be an actual for everyone as a subscriber and all of those, anybody else who wants to look. There will be a schedule on what's going on for the week. But on that, I think I'm going to end up. Thank you all. Don't forget to have your bread and water in honor of SBF and in sympathy of his reduced diet and his entitled Fifi's being so damn hurt about the conditions in the prison. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't with that guy. I just can't with that guy. There's something definitely. I mean, he deserves a fair trial too, but all this whining and complaining, I don't know how you're going to get one with all this pretentiousness going on. You know what, Pete? I can't believe it either, but we knew they had something. They made such a, they started talking about this press conference, if you're talking about the defense team, the week before. Like they were dropping crumbs everywhere, all over. And then they had this filing ready. They've been doing the affidavits, but they did admit it was difficult. They could not press the rest of the jury into coming forward. And that speaks volumes to me. 2 out of 12. And it's about a nicotine addiction. I don't know. It's just so difficult to actually, I mean, everything I've been reading coming out of South Carolina, Leslie, politically and everything is all about the corruption throughout the system everywhere. But these defense attorneys went out of their way to make sure Judge Newman is not being indicated as doing anything wrong, because he didn't. And he's very well loved and very straight-laced, but they're just pinning it all on Rebecca Hill. So keep our eyes out for a statement from Rebecca Hill and from further statement from the prosecution. We still got to hear from them. A.G. Wilson just said, yeah, we know about it. Yeah, we will take the time needed to respond. And let's just keep our eyes on that. Okay. It was good to see you here, Pete. Damn, it must be so hard being a millionaire. Exactly. SBF, he's just like, he just can't handle it. He just can't. Yep. Juju says, give the next set of Juros nicotine patches and let's do this. Exactly. And so we don't have to worry about smoke breaks. But like you said, Juju, you pointed, was it yourself or someone else in the chat that you pointed out? No, we didn't hear anything about the smoke breaks during the trial. Pete, you guys were all here. No one said a word about it the whole time. And you heard Judge Newman ask the jury every day if they had anything to bring forward. He conversed with his clerk every day and the jury every day. And I realize the process can be a little intimidating because it's a court of law. The average person being a juror, you take it really serious. You want to make sure you do the right thing. You don't want to make waves, whatever, small town issues, But still, if you think something's terribly wrong, like the county clerk was violating somebody's rights, you think you would have said something, especially if you're going to bother saying it. Like, we're not talking the day after the trial, the week after the trial. They did all those interviews. We're talking months later. I don't know. Never heard about smoke breaks. Nope. I never heard about, I am sure they mentioned it, but never allowed to us. Right? I believe that's right. I know. I'm just saying there's going to be a lot to watch. But on that, I'm going to say good night. See some of you tomorrow if you're going to be there. Thank you so much to my moderators. As always, you guys rock. You make this easy for me. Always creational. Please understand, I appreciate the information. I just wanted to get it out there first before you told the whole chat. So no harm, no foul. I hope you understand. It's just a timing issue with me because I know you follow this stuff like I do, and I appreciate it. I really do. But on that, I will see you all next time.